The NYPD has finally apologized for the raid on the Stonewall Inn, which only took them 50 years. The State Department has convened a panel of anti-LGBTQ activists to redefine human rights. A district attorney in Tennessee says that he will not protect same-sex couples from domestic violence, and YouTube is celebrating Pride Month by refusing to ban hate speech and harassment on its platform. Well, the week's top LGBTQ news and actions you can take on Weekly Debrief. Big thanks to everyone who makes Weekly Debrief possible with a pledge of support on Patreon. If you find these videos helpful, head over to patreon.com/mattbaum or click the link in the description. Good news, the New York Police Department is now officially sorry for raiding the Stonewall Inn. Back in the 60s, it was common for police to raid gay bars, arresting patrons, often beating and extorting them. But this week, NYPD Commissioner James O'Neill issued an apology for the June 1969 raid that kicked off the Stonewall riots, a turning point in the modern LGBTQ liberation movement. So, better late than never. Also this week, the State Department prohibited embassies from flying the pride flag, reversing an Obama-era policy. The State Department also announced plans to change the definition of human rights to, well, we don't really know what yet. What we do know is that the department's redefinition is being spearheaded by one of the co-founders of the National Organization for Marriage, a man who said that governments should prioritize religious beliefs over equal rights for women and queer people. So this can only end well. A district attorney in Tennessee told a group this week that he would not prosecute domestic violence cases involving same-sex couples because he doesn't want to recognize those marriages as valid. That is, of course, totally unconstitutional. You can't apply some laws to some people and not to others. They have to apply equally to everyone. Civil rights groups are now calling on him to resign. Colorado Governor Jared Polis just signed a bill making ex-gay abuse illegal. It's now the 18th state in the country to ban that practice for minors. He also signed a bill making it easier to correct the gender on birth certificates, so nice work, Colorado. Jared Polis is the first openly gay governor in the country, and this is why that kind of representation matters. And finally, this week, you've probably seen that YouTube is under fire for a pattern of ignoring harassment and hate speech on their platform. Despite having a policy prohibiting harassment, when large creators violate that policy, the company has repeatedly failed to remove their content. There's been a surge in attention for the problem over the last few days, and finally, the company issued a statement addressing the issue. Unfortunately, that statement essentially doubles down on the lack of enforcement. According to YouTube, they'll only remove harassment and hate speech if it's the primary purpose of a video. In other words, they'll leave up content that clearly runs afoul of their harassment guidelines as long as you frame it as having some other primary purpose, like comedy or debate. YouTube's giving homophobic harassment a benefit of the doubt that a lot of queer creators just never get. We've seen that the platform will restrict or remove content that touches on LGBTQ topics, and videos with queer themes are often demonetized as soon as they're uploaded, deemed unacceptable to advertisers until you request a manual review. It's unbelievable that YouTube is celebrating Pride Month by inviting further bad behavior on their platform. YouTube's selective enforcement of their policies further marginalizes queer creators, while amplifying people who would harass them, enriching both YouTube and the creators who make inciting content. When problems like this arise, often the only way to force companies to improve is through negative PR. So this week's action item is to keep up the pressure on YouTube. Speak out about their failure to address the abuse, demand they do better, and don't give them a pass just because they changed their logo to a rainbow for the month. As always, let me know about stories that need covering at Matt Baum on Twitter and in the YouTube comments. Thanks to everyone who makes Weekly Debrief possible. If you find these videos helpful, head over to patreon.com/mattbaum or click the link in the description to help keep them going. And I'll debrief you next week.